Kelly Clarkson and Lionel Richie's heart-to-heart about grief after her family's tragic loss. 4 days after Kelly Clarkson's highly anticipated return to her talk show, the beloved songstress and first-ever American Idol winner publicly broached the topic of grief for the first time since the death of Brandon Blackstock, her ex-husband and father of her 2 children, 11-year-old River Rose and 9-year-old Remy Alexander. On the October 2nd, 2025, episode of her show, Clarkson had a heart-to-heart with music legend and American Idol judge Lionel Richie about dealing with loss as he promoted his new memoir, Truly. Kelly Clarkson is overwhelmed by Lionel Richie's description of grief. During Richie's interview with Clarkson, she featured Lionel Richie's lifelines, calling out profound statements he wrote in his new memoir. The last quote the show highlighted was especially important, Clarkson said, explaining, I do think that a lot of people deal with grief in such a different way, but I love that you say, grief is the great teacher of what matters most. And I think no matter how you deal with grief, Clarkson continued, it is very different for everyone, but I do find that very true. How did you figure that out? You know, there's an old expression where you go, it's real. I mean, it's a real moment when you can't phone it in, but at the same time, we rehearse things. You can't rehearse grief. You can't rehearse the loss of your mother or your father or a friend. And it hits you in waves, Clarkson replied. You can't rehearse that, Richie said. And so what I've found is that when I get involved with the word uncontrollable grief, I let go. And believe it or not, I look forward to finding out, who am I going to be really? 'Cause that's the real me. And honestly, the release, Clarkson interjected. Richie echoed, the release. If it hurts so badly, that means you loved so deeply. Clarkson then sighed, oh, expletive, and slumped back in her chair, overwhelmed by Richie's words. She gave him a terrified look and quipped, like, come on. He teased, hang on. You know what I mean? But I can save you. Richie got up and put the palm of his hand on Clarkson's forehead as the audience laughed, and she threw up her hands, shouting, hey. Laughing, she popped up and said, I feel healed. This was the first time Kelly Clarkson has opened up about grief since Brandon Blackstock's death. Clarkson did not specifically mention Blackstock, but her poignant discussion with Richie was the first time she's publicly broached the topic of grief and loss since her ex's death on August 7th. The day before Blackstock died, following a private battle with melanoma, Clarkson canceled the remainder of her Las Vegas residency and announced that Blackstock had been ill and she needed to be fully present for their children. The former couple was married from 2013 to 2022, though they split in 2020 and went through a contentious divorce. Blackstock was diagnosed with cancer after their divorce was finalized, according to People, and moved to Montana in 2022. A source close to the family told the outlet that after his diagnosis, Clarkson did everything she could to protect their kids and ensure they had time with their dad.